Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Dave Neal here, stand-up comic, host of Bachelor Recap, a Guys Review. It's Voicemail Sunday. That's a chance for you guys to leave voicemails, hopefully the nice kind, but I do appreciate a differencing of opinion as long as you are super gentle and kind and don't offend my soul. I'm kidding. Say whatever you want. We'll play it. I haven't listened to any of these yet. Let's get some good voicemail music on in the background. You guys ready to groove to some good voicemail music? All right, here we go. That's a little aggressive, but let's go to our first voicemail here. And at the end of this video, I will tell you a little bit about my vlog channel. I'm going to launch it this week. There'll be a link to it in the description. You guys can go check that out. It's going to be a little bit different from Bachelor content, more lifestyle stuff, stand-up comedy, home renovating, and who knows, maybe eventually baby planning, wedding planning. Who knows what's going to happen out there. Let's go to our first voicemail. Spin all over the place. This is Emma from Ontario.
Hey Dave, this is Emma calling from Ontario. I was just listening to your Thursday, March 25th live stream, and you were responding to a caller who had made a comment about how, life is tough for everyone, and I loved your response, super eloquent, and just bringing up the fallacies with the idea of all lives matter. And I wanted to add a second dimension to that conversation. I'm a biracial woman, but just understanding as well that though, yes, life can be difficult or is really difficult for everyone in different ways, there is a shared experience that a lot of people have because of the color of their skin, and that is Black people. Like, Black people can relate on certain experiences simply because of the color of their skin, where that's not as true for people of other races. And then in that regard, people can relate on shared experiences like struggling with addiction or, family troubles or whatever. But having Black skin is a part of life that everyone who is Black can relate to. So, just wanted to add that to the conversation. Love everything you do, and have a great weekend.
Emma from Ontario. I did have a great weekend. Thank you so much. It's 86 and sunny here in Los Angeles, California. I'm having a fantastic weekend. The coffee's hitting me right. I got my favorite mug out with my favorite quote. A little bit of that. Go confidently in the direction of your dreams. Live the life you've imagined. Henry David Thoreau, HDT. Yeah, you know me. And again, I'm not saying this to brag, but does anyone else in Bachelor Nation take voicemail calls from their audience? Because I gotta tell you, you guys are so smart, you're so well educated, you're so compassionate, so much empathy, and I love it. We have a biracial caller, Emma from Ontario, sharing your views on the world, and I think that's so important. When it comes to white privilege, it's like, look, if you can walk into a 4-star hotel and not get and you can ask where the bathroom is, and then they just lead you to the bathroom, that's white privilege. That's kind of the best way to describe it. It doesn't mean you don't have a difficult life. It means you might be starting a block or two ahead of another person on the track known as life. Think of it as a race to the finish line. You might just be 1 or 2 steps closer. It doesn't mean that Bennett isn't 20 steps ahead of you. It just means there's people behind you for no reason other than they were born with a different color of skin than you. Next call.
Oh my God, I almost thought this was not your number anymore because something changed. Anyway, this is Gabby from Germany. Hi there.
Hey, Gabby.
Just listened to your Patreon podcast. By the way, love the music. If I only had $1 million these days. Been a while since my last call. Life got busy around here. Missed your last 2 live streams. Glad to see that you still have plenty content even without Bachelor season. And I didn't get a chance to tell you how much I enjoyed your pizza live stream. And congrats on your subscribers. Watching now your Thursday live stream, but I stopped halfway to check out your Patreon and listen to that before continuing to that video. Since I didn't find a way to call for Patreon separate, I decided to call you on this number. So you don't need to play my voicemail. I just hope you get it and listen to it. I wish you a great weekend and looking forward to more content on Patreon and YouTube. I haven't gotten your email with your address, so I can send you guys some German goodies. Please email.
Oh, I lost you there. Sorry, I lost you right at the end of your voicemail.
Okay. Um, bye now.
Gabby, I will send you our mail, and I would love German cookies. Are you kidding me? Absolutely. Absolutely. Gabby was referring to, and we love our friend Gabby in Germany. For those that might have had a hard time hearing because it wasn't the, hey, we're taking phone calls from international sources here. They're going to lose some bandwidth. But if you didn't hear, she mentioned that she listened to my latest Patreon episode, which is a private episode. I'm able to make content in the Patreon episode that I can't make with you guys because I can play licensed music. I played the song If I Had $1 Million, and the idea that that doesn't stretch as far as it used to. If I had $1 million, I'd begin to pay off my student loan debts. No, I'm kidding. We're getting there, folks. If I had $1 million, I would be buying a low middle income house somewhere in the Midwest because I can't afford coastal living. I digress. Did that even make sense? I don't know. Anyway, folks, if anyone wants the extra content, it's at patreon.com/thesap. I'll put a link to that in the description, as I always do, and you can check out those private episodes where I talk about the behind-the-scenes side of the podcast and YouTube, stuff that I don't really feel comfortable sharing, here on the brand, because it's like if you really care about it, go listen over there on the Patreon. And if you don't care about it, then you don't have to worry about it. But that's where it's at. So thanks so much for the call there, Gabby. I appreciate you, and I can't wait for some of that German chocolate. All right, let's go to the District of Columbia.
Hi, Dave. My name is Patrice. I'm from D.C. I just want to say that the blatant outright racism that the Bachelor franchise shows is really sad, and it just shows how far we've come in this country. I'm very disappointed in how people are treating Rachel. I'm very disappointed that people are just, it sickens me and it's disgusting to see. And I just hope that the franchise can become better.
Well, thank you so much for that phone call. It's so interesting, isn't it, that the conversation around race is no matter which way you look, it is the most influential, most important conversation that happens in Bachelor Nation. And is it because it hasn't been addressed for so long? Is it because we're kind of people that used to be bigots that you never would have heard of? Do they have platforms now? What's the case? A lot of people say there isn't racism, but if like I played that Prager University video, which boy did that create some controversy. But it's like you can't have a bunch of white people saying that there is that we're moving past racism if there's a bunch of people of color that say, well, we aren't there yet. You can't say we're moving past it, unless everyone's in agreement, like, all right, let's move forward to the next step of the world. You know what I mean? So anyway, yeah, it's going to be a part of our dialogue, As long as there's social media, as long as we're talking to our constituents and our fellow countrymen, it's going to be a part of our dialogue, whether you feel like it's we're over it or not. I don't mean you specifically, but anyone in the audience. Oh, I just lost my Arkansas caller. Here's Arkansas. Let's go to Arkansas.
Hi, Dave. I'm from Arkansas, and I had an interaction here recently that just made me think of something that Emmanuel Alcho had said, and I don't know if you're even still talking about this, but I wanted to bring it up and just kind of use this as encouragement for other people. I ran into a black man the other day, and I'm from the South. I'm a white woman from the South, and, we tend to get a reputation for a lot of racism, and a lot of times deservedly so. And I ran into this man, and he was speaking, and I had hollered out to him to say, hey, and I was going to tell him he had said something about Chick-fil-A, and my response was going to be, hey, thanks for mentioning Chick-fil-A because now I'm craving it for sure. And, he kind of looked at me when I said, hey, and I could see it on his face. He thought I was going to say something just racist or awful. And it clicked in my head what Emmanuel Acho had said about how,
oh, sorry. Jeez. I need to get better at this.
How he was saying that, what if you're the only black person this person meets today? And like, putting out a good front. And in my head, it clicked like, what if I'm the only non-racist, nice white person that this person
Bingo.
sees today? Or even Christian, I'm a Christian. What if I am the only Christian that this person interacts with today? And how my words have so much meaning. And like I said, I could tell from the look on his face that he thought I was going to say something totally different, but I made a joke and we talked, and it was a great conversation. And it just made me leave thinking, you have to be careful with what you say and careful with what you do because you might be the only person that that person receives kindness from that day. So I just wanted to say that in response to Emmanuel Acho's thing that he had said. And yeah, I love your show. So thanks, Dave.
Arkansas coming in saying, be careful what you say, be careful what you do.
Be careful who you bang.
And be careful who you bang. You're not the same caller who said,
be careful who you bang.
I need to find out who that is. Write in, whoever's the be careful who you bang person. We'd love to love to hear from you. You're absolutely right. It's very interesting. This is, of course, Emmanuel Acho from his playing days. We always show his photos in his nice suits, but we need to show this true, just behemoth. Look at these arms. You kidding me? Imagine this guy trying to arm tackle you. You take your head off. Fly, Eagles, fly. So the idea that he might be the only black person somebody sees and he wants to, and again, that's not an idea that's necessarily I understand his idea. If he's the only black person someone sees today, he wants to be a good ambassador for his people. With that said, you shouldn't have to do that. Like, you shouldn't have to have that burden. You should be able to be you. Have a bad day at the DMV. You should be able to be you. But of course, with respect to him, understanding that you might be the only person someone sees that day, that's a sort of a burden you take on. And for our caller in Arkansas, knowing that you might have a bad rap of the racism in the South. And don't get me wrong, it's everywhere, okay? I'm not coming to you from Rhode Island saying it doesn't exist. We just don't, have our Confederate flags going around, which some might say is even more dangerous to not know the enemy that's around you. So with that said, and it doesn't mean there aren't great people. You sound like an amazing person there, our friend in Arkansas. You sound like such an amazing, nice person. And for you to understand that even knowing that you've got an amazing, gentle warmth Christianity inside of you, for you to recognize his fear takes a lot of empathy. And that's what we need in this country, to understand that the hostility and the guard that is up really requires, especially when we have masks on, it really requires us to smile even extra big, to show people whatever you need to do to show them that to show each other that we are your loving brothers and sisters. I have this same issue when I go on stage with stand-up comedy. When you get on stage with stand-up, you release a lot of adrenaline, you get excited to talk, you're ready to go. If the audience doesn't see the warmth in my face and voice before I can begin to tell you what's wrong with the world, they're not going to like me. And it's important that you realize on stage as a stand-up to gain the likeness from your audience. It doesn't mean you have to be being likable doesn't mean you got to be like, hey, everybody. It just means you guys got to understand I need to connect to you guys. I need to ground myself to you and be extra sure that we're on the same page before we fight the fight. And that's what we have to do in our everyday interactions with the postman, with the barista, with everybody. When it comes to Chick-fil-A, they've got some great customer service. They make you feel like $1 million. It is so important in today's world to ground yourself, which, of course, when you talk about the internet, is nearly impossible to do when you're just a name with a stupid face on a screen on Facebook. It's very hard to show that warmth. I talk all the time on my podcast about warmth and competence, but that's what you're battling. I battle it when I go on stage and stand up. You battle it when you accidentally cut somebody off and they think you're a horrible person. We feel misunderstood non-stop. I look like I have deep inset eyes. When I don't have the lights on me, I just have this shadow under my eyes and I look like an asshole. I get it. I am just a prick guy in his 30s. I totally get it. If someone's having a bad day, they'll look at me that way. And I don't even have to deal with the fact that I'm getting prejudged because of the color of my skin. You know what I mean? I'm getting prejudged because I cut somebody. That's what it comes down to, is if someone's an a-hole to me, I just think that they're an a-hole. If someone's an a-hole to Emmanuel Acho, you might have to wonder if they don't like him for the color of his skin. I don't have to have that burden on me. It's a real unfortunate thing that's what other people have. Hey, these are the calls you guys are giving me, and that's what we're going to talk about. Let's move over here to a new call.
Hey, Dave. This isn't about Bachelor-related things. I just wanted to say thank you so much for doing what you do. I have terrible anxiety, and for some reason, reality TV and hearing your recaps helped me a lot. So just thank you so much. Love ya. Keep doing great. And I'll be watching. Bye.
Well, thank you so much. You don't have to leave voicemails about Bachelor. If you just want to say hi, if you just want to call and ask me about I would love it if you asked me random questions about The Walking Dead or the show Nashville. I would say all day about the show Nashville. Love that show. Deacon, Team Deacon, all the way. Nothing's more fun than when Deacon loses his sobriety and has a night out. Let me tell you something. All right. But anyway, if you guys want to ask me questions about Lost, Team Sawyer, we could get into it. We'll get into it all day long. But I do appreciate the calls regardless of where they come from. And I do appreciate your call saying I help you with your anxiety. I mean, we're here to, I'll talk to you guys all day long if that's what we want to do.
Hi, this is Denise from Chino Valley, Arizona. I am a fan of Rachel Lindsay. I don't think white people have the right to say how she should feel unless they're black, because there's racism that is gone on for a very long time. I think Chris Harrison was fine. He made a mistake. I've made mistakes too, and I definitely have black people in my family. But I didn't know antebellum was bad. I didn't know I shouldn't say plantation table. I didn't know I should say those things, but I'm learning. And so now I think everyone needs to be aware of when they're saying things that are insensitive and racist. Nothing wrong with a black person speaking up and saying that is not proper, because this is racist. Even though you don't understand it, it is. So anyway, thanks. Bye.
Thank you from Denise in Chino Valley, Arizona. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It sounds obvious to say. I mean, in my world and in your world, it might sound obvious to say, but you know, everyone's coming at the world with their own opinions, and it doesn't make them right or wrong. It just means that's where you start your dimension. Now, to live a three-dimensional world, you got to triangulate. You can't find an earthquake from one plot point. You need three different plot points to come together to find an earthquake. You can't find the epicenter, at least, unless you've got, do you know what I mean? Do you know the physics of what I'm talking about here? I'm a seismologist. I'm a seismology queen. Love my big earthquakes. It's not the size of the earthquake. It's the motion in the layers of dirt. Okay, folks. Come on, what are we talking about here? No, you got an absolute point. You don't know what you don't know, and you don't know it, and it's important to remember that. So let's move on from the earthquake debate here.
Hello, Dave Neal. I'm calling from Southern California, and I'm watching your shows a lot. And I think for Rachel Lindsay, why don't you have a poll if Rachel Lindsay is a good representative for black people or not? It's either yes or no, and you'll get your answer.
First of all, I appreciate your voicemail, I do, but this is I'm about to tear you to shreds, okay?
She has done after the Bachelorette and all through today, if she is a good representative for the cause of the black people or not. Because in my own opinion, she is a bad representative, and a lot of people are starting to gonna hate black people from now on because of Rachel Lindsay. That's just my opinion. But if you want a real answer, not your opinion, I don't want to hear your opinion. I want to hear news. I'd rather have the opinion of people and give yourself a vote on a lot of these things. So that's just my take. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
You go, that's just my opinion, but I don't want your opinion. Listen, I do appreciate your call. Rachel Lindsay is no longer and has never been an elected representative of our great country. She is a black woman who shares her opinion, and if you don't want to listen to it, tune it out. Nobody, and I mean this, out of 330 million people who live in our country, nobody is going to decide they hate all black people because they don't like Rachel Lindsay. They're just going to expose whatever bigotry and racism already exists in their heart. So I reject your line of questioning. I don't need to take a poll to see whether or not people like Rachel Lindsay or not. She is not hired by The Bachelor. She was a former contestant who has done a great job voicing her opinion, and much like you're voicing yours now. If people enjoy what she has to say, they can support that. If they don't enjoy what she says, they can tune it out, and the ratings will speak for themselves. But I will continue to share my opinion. I will pleasantly ask you this one time only. Don't ever tell me not to share my opinion again. I think was that pleasant enough? Because look, man, there are plenty of places you can get the news. I'm going to come here and tell you what I think about it through my own past life experiences. And if I'm ever wrong, and if ever anyone wants to challenge me on my opinion, they are allowed to do so, and I will do my best to listen to it with open ears. The only thing you're doing when telling me not to share my opinion is encouraging other people to leave a comment saying, Dave, we enjoy you sharing your opinion, which in return will increase the algorithm on my channel, which is very much what everyone who hates on Rachel Lindsay is doing to her stock. They're just increasing her awareness for the plight she is on. So you have a opinion, which respectfully is yours, that you don't like Rachel Lindsay. If we had a further conversation, I would dive into why it is you don't like Rachel Lindsay, or why it is it could be several things. It could be because she's black, it could be because she's a woman, or it could be because you disagree with her, or a connection of those three. It is hard for women in our world to have an opinion without being labeled a bitch or annoying or whatever it is. It's hard for them to come out and be strong and have an opinion. It's easy for us to tell them that their opinion's not valid. I'm telling you that your opinion is valid because it is rightfully yours. So to think that you don't think Rachel Lindsay is a good representative of Black America, I don't think anyone wants the burden to be a representative of Black America. She is a slice of pizza in a very large pie. And if you do not want to eat or consume that variety, that is on you. But she will continue to serve it up. Thank you so much for the call.
Hi, Dave. I'm from Santa Cruz, California.
Hello.
And I really appreciate you having these honest conversations about race. I just wanted to point out, and maybe you've already discussed this, but what I heard Matt say is that the reason he couldn't be with Rachel is that if she didn't understand him as a black man, how would she raise their children as black children? I thought that was a really good point. She needed to know more about the history to deal with that. But then there's also the fact that he has a white mother. So I'm not sure where that all goes. But thank you. Bye.
Well, thank you so much for the call there. It's the question on Rachel Kirkconnell, and an interesting question. And people have asked this. Look, there's going to be like Matt James has said, maybe a dozen, even less. He's given several reasons as to why his relationship with Rachel Kirkconnell cannot work out right now. And then we kind of latch onto those examples in sort of a legal way. And I respect your phone call. I really do. Thank you so much for calling. The question is whether or not we need to take him at his word. Like, this is why it won't work, or understand that even if he hasn't vocalized it, there's probably a large handful of reasons why it can't work out right now. One of which might be look, I need to get her, it might be that he has a problem with Rachel Kirkconnell's mom. She was very sweet when she wrote into me, but it doesn't mean that she doesn't have a lot of ingrained issues or issues within their community. Who knows? Who really knows? So I try my best not to look at these situations as sort of like a legal defense way where you go, well, why did you do that? If you said this, then how come it's that? It's like, look, I don't think if we all saw that Matt James knows exactly all of the ways to express his feelings right now. So I sure know that I can't try to assume how he feels. With all that said, I want nothing more than for them to try to get their relationship worked out, or maybe even become friends, or whatever they can do to repair and grow, I think is positive. But if that repairing and growing comes from them not being with each other, then that's the path that'll be. So yeah, and again, he doesn't get to choose his mom, but he does get to choose his wife. Same thing with Hannah Brown. Wow, if he was friends with Hannah Brown, then how come he can't forgive her? Well, it's different when it's someone you're raising children with. It's different when it's someone you have to at least be in the same ballpark. And maybe they'll get there. Who knows? But thank you so much for the phone call. I really appreciate it. Let's go over to Florida.
Hi, Dave. I'm calling from Florida. Watching your video on political affiliation discrimination. I'm glad that you brought this up, the topic and stuff. I kind of do agree that there is political affiliation discrimination. I see it around a lot. I think it's why there is a fear that if you are conservative or tend to be more conservative, you're more hesitant or scared to speak out. I mean, why is that? Why is it that there's a possibility that Matt James changed his political affiliation from Republican to Independent when he went on The Bachelor? There's that fear there. And so I think people are just really tired of this cancel culture when it comes to freedom of speech. For example, when it comes to Piers Morgan, I don't agree in any way with what he said because I personally do agree with Meghan Markle. And this is coming from a woman of color. I am Black, Hispanic. And but at the same time, when people were attacking Piers Morgan, I mean, I thought about it and I'm like, well, it's douchey, but he is entitled in every way to that opinion. He doesn't want to believe Meghan Markle in anything. That's okay. If Sharon Osbourne wants to stand behind Piers and also think, oh, that's a lie as well, I don't believe her, that's okay. Like, it's okay to have these disagreements. And I just feel like personally, there is a lot less of a tolerant attitude from the left, which is why this has kind of boiled into now this entire council culture thing, and everyone's on edge. And I think we just need to all get along more and agree to disagree with other people's opinions, which is important. Have important conversations. But yeah, those are my thoughts.
Thank you so much for that call. I really appreciate it. When it comes to conversations, I watched something crazy recently about how divisive our country is with regards to political views. And even within certain cities, we're so divided by literal neighborhoods that we don't talk to people that aren't of the same political beliefs too often. Now, of course, I do. I've got family that are Republican and family that are Democrat. My extended family is all over the place. I mean, I don't get home enough, especially because of COVID. I miss going home. Just got my first vaccine, though. Be going home relatively soon, seeing my great family in the beautiful state of Rhode Island. But I do believe that there's a difference between the Trump party and conservatives. And I think it's on conservatives to learn how to distance themselves from a man that I think will be considered the worst president in the history of the United States of America for many reasons, namely understanding how, and it's part of his media sense, understanding how to build a divide between your base and the others. He's done nothing but stoke fear, racism, and division within our country. And you see how like delicate the balance is between civility and Capitol riots. Do you understand? So he couldn't admit. There's so many issues where like he couldn't admit that there was a fair and free election. So many people weren't willing to believe and were kind of stuck in this cult mindset that it was us versus them. And you can not like Biden's policies, whatever, but like take someone like Mitt Romney, for example. That was a man, and again, there might be a lot that's wrong with his policies, and he's a billionaire, and like, what do we need to hear from him? But there was a man that was wanting to be the president of the United States. Biden wants to be a president of the United States. He's fighting for policies that 80% of the country agree on, even though not one Republican will vote for it. Republican policymakers are afraid to cross Trump because they know they will get primaried. Trump has a crazy, loyal base that people don't want to mess with. So people are abandoning their policies. People like Ted Cruz are letting Trump make fun of his own wife and father. And people are just there isn't one Trump supporter that hasn't been completely just defecated on by Trump, yet they play the politics and they don't stick up for themselves. Mitt Romney just won that award from the John F. Kennedy or whatever their organization is, an award on leadership because Mitt Romney was one of the only people that had the balls or the ovaries to stick up for what they think is right. So that's why I think there's a huge divide. I think we yearn for the days where there's polite discussion about the differences of taxation and things like that. I just don't think we're there. I don't think we're there. With regards to freedom of speech, and I'll just say this here, and please call back if you disagree with any of this. And to my caller from earlier, these are my opinions. I'm sure you've tuned out by now. But with the Piers Morgan thing, freedom of speech. First of all, I don't think they have freedom of speech in the United Kingdom. That's an American. I mean, they have their own thing, but we have very uniquely freedom of speech, but it doesn't mean freedom of jobs. So you can, people can call. This is just the way it works. Sure, it might be overkill, but people can rally up. They can rally up people to make phone calls and threaten to boycott whatever advertisers are on a company. This is what I like about YouTube is that like I'm not bought and sold by Dove. So if Dove gives me itchy skin, I can be like, Dove soap sucks. I can say that. Whereas if Dove was like a sponsor or if McDonald's is a sponsor, I'd be like, I love a good McDonald's. No, it doesn't make my teeth gritty and give me diarrhea. I love, I'm not bought. Okay. Now, I still have to work within the framework of YouTube and try not to swear much because the algorithm hears me and this and that. I can't talk about certain things without getting flagged, of course. But for the most part, freedom of speech is not freedom of consequence. Piers Morgan in the United States would be granted freedom of speech, but he's not granted freedom of consequence. So he basically said he didn't believe Meghan Markle was suicidal. And I just don't think you're able to be that dismissive to an issue that is so personal and could be so traumatic. I don't think you're allowed to be that dismissive without certain pushbacks. So anyway, I think with regards to that, yeah. Now then you get Sharon Osbourne gets fired. So what if I defend Sharon Osbourne? Do I get fired? Like how far down the chain of command does it go with this human centipede of cancel culture? I'm not sure. I do think that we do give a platform for people that for like small little petitions can get inflamed based off of social media. So like you take the canceling of Trader Joe's started by a 17-year-old. It didn't have much merit. It's like Trader Joe's is a great company, very diverse company. They've got great employment practices. It's a very happy work culture for people. It's not exactly the top of the tier of companies. Amazon is a nightmare of a company to work for. You gotta poop in a bag because if you can't take a break long enough, it's a horrible company to work for. They're trying to prevent unions, this and that. Let's not, but there was a petition against Trader Joe's started by a 17-year-old that got a lot of fire because it was fun to talk about. I made a video about it. It was fun to talk about in the media. And it's like, we need to learn what news stories have the most merit and what we're posting for like sensationalism and know the difference. But as far as Piers Morgan goes, I mean, he's a vile man. He's a vile man, and if a company wants to give him a platform, they're going to have to understand that that's going to come with a repercussion. It's dangerous. He toes that line of like inappropriate things to say. So you tell me, is it appropriate to blindly not believe Meghan Markle was suicidal? Is it appropriate to believe that, to be that dismissive of a woman, let alone a woman of color, entering the royal family, having to deal with the media? Is it really that rare to believe that maybe she was living in that world? And I don't think it's his place to make that decision. Not exactly a doctor or therapist. Even Taylor Nolan would agree with me on that one. All right, let's move on.
Yeah, so I just want to say you always put on the voicemails that agree with you. And yet...
I'll tell you this, I play every single voicemail.
Now watching this podcast from PragerU, they're saying, oh, there's no diversity, no one's disagreeing with them. And you know what? In the same way, you put on any voicemails that disagree with you. I disagree with you in a lot of areas.
Good.
And you know what? I think you putting on this PragerU thing today was actually a good move. I think it did show something. It did show that you are trying to bring other people's opinions in. And that's what you need to do because you've been all leftist all this time.
Nope.
With the Bachelor.
I'm just going to pause you because I do appreciate this, but I want to address this. I play virtually every voicemail unless I have too many voicemails and they're long, in which case I don't even listen to them. So there might be good ones, there might be bad ones. Certainly it does feel kind of weird for me to play 3 or 4 voicemails in a row that are like, we love you, Dave. It's nice. I love it as far as my love language goes. But I'll tell you this, and I mean this with all due respect. How dare you tell me I only play voicemails from people I agree with? That is absolutely not the case. And I would appreciate a little bit more grace with all that I'm doing over here to at least ask me that question if I'm selective with my voicemails. So I'm not scolding you. I'm just saying, how dare you assume that from me?
Leftist. Now you're bringing some people in that don't agree with you. And so this shows that you are opening up a little, which you should. And this is what should happen. People should have this diversity. They should have, in other words, of opinions. And I'm not talking about just diversity of, with the black, white, or all that, but diversity of opinions, and it counts. And we should not try to shut people up. This is what you're doing right now. But you're disagreeing with Jordan, and he's right about a lot of things that he just said.
Your opinion.
The thing about Jordan is he's very truthful, and he's very out there and very honest in his opinions, and he doesn't care what other people think about his opinions, and so he's going to tell the truth. Okay, so I think this is what needs to happen, what you're doing. And so I do think this is a good thing you're doing, even though a lot of your opinions I don't agree with. I can see you're very one-sided in a lot of your opinions. So anyway, like I said, all the voicemails you play are like, "Oh, I love you" and all that. So play some voicemails that are saying the opposite. You know, like maybe some of those are disagreeing with you, like this one.
Listen, I played your voicemail before I knew you were disagreeing with me, even though you were kind of agreeing with me. You said you disagree with me, but then you agreed that I had showed differencing of opinions. Maybe what you don't understand is that maybe there's a majority of people that like my opinion, so they agree with it. I play people that don't agree with my opinion. I just played yours. Ipso de facto proving you wrong. I do appreciate what you said. I'm saying that sort of with good faith. I do appreciate what you're saying here with playing differencing of opinions. I'll ask you to call back. And again, the voicemails were sort of light this week because the Bachelor was over. So I played yours. I probably wouldn't even have played yours if it was over a minute, just because I'm trying to keep these short. So get real tight on your opinions there. I appreciate it. I know that's asking a lot. I'm just saying that for you and for everyone else, because I don't like that you assumed that about me. I really don't, and it makes me a little upset because I make a lot of content. So to assume that I'm selective with the voicemails I play, you have no basis for that. And if you say, well, it's because you play all these ones that agree with you, I'm just hitting the button. Okay, I am just hitting the button. I have not listened to these. These are not pre-screened, which sometimes, because they're not pre-screened, people get annoyed because sometimes people will leave duplicate voicemails or they'll be bad audio. I'm almost specifically not listening to these before I play them. I did have to be careful when there was there was a few voicemails that were very hateful, and I'm like, I gotta be careful if it's something that is going to be like, I'm not going to platform people just to say hate speech. You can share your opinion all you want. With regards to Jordan, listen, your voicemail is still vacuous of a POV. It's vacuous of like, what is it that you agree with Jordan on? What did they say? Like, there was zero pushback on what they said. They made some weird jokes about trans people. I responded to 80 minutes of a 35-minute video. So I responded 250% the actual content of the video, not necessarily debunking what they're saying, but pushing back on it, saying, what's wrong with Rachel Lindsay giving a point of view? Just don't watch it if you don't want to watch it. I don't understand what's wrong with this. I don't understand, yeah, sure, people can have a problem with cancel culture, but 3 white people saying, hey, Chris Harrison was always fine to me. I think Chris Harrison has always come off as a good person for the most part. For the most part, he's no different than a demographic of anyone else in their 50s from Texas or 49 or whatever. He seems like he's a decent guy. But that's not my place to say that the work environment was comfortable and not one person pushed back on it. So if you want differencing of opinion, I appreciate you checking out my channel, because we're going to differ. We're going to have a lot of differences here. But if you really have any questions about any sort of policies or something you want to discuss, shoot me an email, leave me a comment on YouTube. I try to get back to most comments, or leave a voicemail here. But so far, you just said you're not happy I'm not playing different voicemails, and of course, you proved yourself wrong when I played that one. But I do appreciate your call.
Dave, this is Darlene from Houston. Not all Texas women are Karens. I just got through watching Bachelor conservatives say they're victims of political affiliation discrimination. That was a total joke and a complete waste of time. Talk about privilege. Oh, my goodness. Also, I wanted to tell you that I'm a 68-year-old grandmother of 5.
Woo!
And if you were one of my children or my grandchildren, I would be incredibly proud of you. I really appreciate that you're not afraid to voice your opinion and that you're incredibly open-minded. Thank you for everything. I'll continue to watch. Take care.
Oh,
Sending
my
lots
gosh.
of love and light. Bye.
Sending lots of love and light. Darling, thank you so much for that. I love. Now you'd be too young. You're too young to be my grandmother, darling. But I kind of want like a merch shirt that's like, Dave Neal wants to adopt me as his grandmother, because I never had grandparents. I have one grandfather who's kind of like a recluse. I didn't see him for 15 years. He doesn't know my name. Grandmother died when I was a toddler, breast cancer. So to hear you say, if you were one of my children or my grandchildren, I would be incredibly proud of you. I appreciate that. So Darlene from Houston, thank you so much. And it's not because we would agree on everything. You just sound like a wonderful person. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day for that call. I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Dave, Neal, this is Jill from Washington State. Hey, just a FYI, Nancy Pelosi is 81 years old. Bernie Sanders is 79 years old. That's 2 years, Dave. You really can't discriminate against people because of their age.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Jill from Washington State. I am not an ageist. It's the age of your ideas that I have a problem with. And I do understand that I would have been misinterpreted by that. Boy, do I say a lot of stuff. Nancy Pelosi, I mean, she would be, look, Bernie Sanders, he's had a youthful movement because he's been on the right side of a lot of progressive agenda things. He what does he do? Okay, put it this way. What does he do when he loses the presidential primaries in 2016? He writes a book? Nope, that was Hillary Clinton. He goes to Disney and pickets and fights with them to get their minimum wage up to $15 an hour. He is a senator from the beautiful and charming state of Vermont. Yet he goes to California and Florida and in Texas and all these other places to fight for people. Those are young ideas to me. So you can be in your 80s all you want. It's not an ageist thing. It's about being sharp and energetic to fight for where we want the country to go. And I don't see that in Nancy Pelosi. Am I missing something? Let me know. I appreciate your phone call. Thank you so much.
Hey Dave, this is Justin from Las Vegas, and I want to preface this by saying that I am a 26-year-old black man. I think that's important to make that distinction.
Hi, Justin.
Because my perspective is going to be based on my experience. Now, I want to comment on the whole Prager Zoom roundtable discussion, which was basically just three people going back and forth about how much they agree with each other and how offended they are by the reaction of those who are personally triggered by Rachel and Chris's actions.
Right.
But anyway, I'm getting really tired of the ignorance and lack of education excuse. While that may be true, there are plenty of people who don't want to be educated. You can lead them to the water, but you can't make them drink. They can be willfully obtuse and willfully ignorant. Irredeemable? No. But redemption comes at the cost of disabling your privilege for just enough time to understand that these issues are not imaginary. Rachel Kirkconnell owns up to the fact that she was wrong, and you have this round table of people making the same mistake that Chris Harrison did, and he basically went against everything Rachel wanted to take responsibility for. For Chris, doing the work means hiring a lawyer because he's the victim of accountability. We're in 2021 and we still are conflating cancel culture with accountability. I'm also tired of hearing the word grace. I mean, it seems to be heavily reserved for the lightest pigmentation in the room. To me, this roundtable seems tone deaf and a really great example of white fragility. I don't know if Garrett swiped out his Confederate flag for an American one, but he's been extremely racially problematic, so it's no surprise he shrugged at the topic, you know? And Jordan Kimball, didn't you cancel your fiance when you jumped to conclusions only to later find out she was telling the truth? And the other woman, who is she to tell someone of another race or ethnicity what they should be offended by? You know, they wore a Native American costume for Halloween and they're all cheering about it like it's a good thing. That was embarrassing. I know this show was not created for people like me, so I don't expect any change. In fact, I think they need to just keep it white. Live in your bubble, leave us out of it, because diversifying The Bachelor, you know, it seems to be as difficult as the integration of blacks and whites attending the same schools in 1954. I would strongly advise that black people take a very good look at what they're subjecting themselves to when they go on this show. If we're not there, you can't hurt us. Make The Bachelor great again. You didn't want us for 15 to 20 years, so we get the hint. Thanks, Dave. I enjoy your content, and I appreciate the discourse.
Justin from Las Vegas, you, my friend, just won call of the episode. Unbelievable. This guy just laid it out. Justin from Las Vegas, I enjoyed your call so much. That was the speech I had to include. If you guys are new to my channel, I got a button here. You know what I mean? I got my button here, right? So I play. So once in a while, I'll go on a little rant and I'll play a little bit of the good old fashioned Star Spangled Banner over here. You know what I'm talking about? And I tell you what, I just felt the urge. I couldn't even control my hands. I was just like, oh my, I couldn't even stop myself from doing it. It was just like, you were so spot on with everything you were saying there. I need no response. Justin, I do want to live in a world where you feel like The Bachelor is for you. and that these divisive racial conversations aren't so tone deaf and in some sort of echo chamber with people that don't want to learn. You can bring someone to the water and you can't make them drink. It's a great analogy. Thank you so much for the call. I got another call from you. Is this? Oh no, I think this is the same one. So I think you wanted me to play the first one. You called twice. So I played the first one. So thank you so much. Call back anytime, please. I really appreciate you. Let's get into we have a couple more left. Let's see. Oh, we actually have a lot left. Let's keep going. Try to barrel through these.
Hi, Dave. I appreciate you having this phone number to give us a platform to speak out. The Black social justice warriors and the mob decided to burn down The Bachelor. I was wondering when the rest of the conservative Bachelor contestants were going to come out and speak. I work with Black conservatives in the political arena, and they did not bow down to the woke mob. Check out Candace Owens, Herschel Walker, or Brandon Tatum. Chris Harrison has nothing to apologize for. Once they see his apology, there's blood in the water, and they're not going to stop till they get rid of him. Thank you so much for your platform.
Thank you so much for your phone call, your voicemail. I'm going to go through these a little bit faster because I've got a lot left, and I thought I didn't. So here we go. There's nothing. Okay, here's we have Oz here, the moderator. Oz, Sheriff's calling.
This is the sheriff here. So I was just going to say that you guys better remember that this is a right-wing bias. They're not. They're just. They don't have room for other opinions, and I don't agree with any of their opinions. It's not even fair because they wouldn't be listening to the other side because Dennis Prager is a very right-wing person, so they wouldn't be even listening to the left side. They wouldn't even be listening to somebody who's in the center side of politics. So these guys on Bachelor are very right-wing, so it makes sense that they would support Chris and not like Rachel Lindsay, I mean. So that's my 2 cents, and have a good weekend, everyone, and we'll catch you on the other side. Thank you, bye.
Oz, the moderator. Thank you so much, Oz. I really appreciate your phone call. Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, look, we've showed you the media bias charts. It's incredibly biased. It's not to say that there isn't bias in the other direction, but it is what it is. It's incredibly biased echo chamber.
This is Lauren, and I'm calling out of Tacoma, Washington. I just wanted to say I'm a huge fan of your YouTube show. And I really just wanted to touch on something very important, and I know other people have addressed this, but I want to thank you for your willingness and openness to discuss things that are a little bit touchy sometimes. With everything that you've been talking about, sort of supporting women and their right to, grieve and understand, what's going on with the.
Oh, shoot. I'm sorry. I just lost you there. I am so sorry. My fingers, I just hit a button.
I've been struggling with infertility for a while, and I was recently told that I am not able to have children.
Sorry, Lauren.
And this is something that I'm coming to terms with. But the community that you have made and what you have opened for all of us, this place to feel safe, this place to feel heard, respected, and loved. It's absolutely incredible, and I thank you for that, and just being so open-minded about everything. And you are a special guy, and I just want to tell you thank you for creating this place where I feel safe within the community of your YouTube followers, and everybody has just been so welcoming and kind. And even when I feel like I'm in my darkest of days, just listening to you has really helped me. And I from the bottom of my heart, I know you don't know me, but you have touched me and made me feel important, and that I can get through this. So thank you. Thank you for everything you do. I know this is probably off topic, but just thank you. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Lauren from Tacoma, Washington. Listen, Lauren, there's nothing off topic that we aren't ready to dive into here on the channel here, and I appreciate you so much. If anyone's still listening to this, I know these videos can get long. Leave a nice comment for Lauren in the comment section there, if you don't mind. I mean, I can't imagine what that feels like. I think about it as a guy, just, it's so funny how, men and women, we're on a spectrum of masculinity and femininity. Like in some ways I'm super feminine. I love Broadway. I love certain things. I love move that bus. You got a slack on it. I love it. And then in some ways I'm a super bro, and you can be everything you want in this world. But as a guy, it's like we were put on this planet to create millions and billions of sperm. And a guy can be infertile too, but I don't know what it's like, the struggle to be a woman and then find out you can't give birth. Just know, I'm sure your husband, I'm sure your support system values you as a amazing woman. And it's not the end for you, but it's the start of a new beginning. And I think that you're so kind in the way that you commented and left a voicemail. I'm sure the people that are around you get to take advantage of that warmth that you possess. So here's to miracles. Here's to wishing you the best. And thank you so much for sticking around the YouTube channel. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for your phone call. Call anytime.
Hey, Dave. This is Van Ann from Mesa, Arizona.
Hi, Van Ann.
I love listening to your live streams while I'm playing disc golf. So this last Thursday, literally in the middle of the course, when Governor Ducey decides to drop executive orders that's effective immediately, lifting the mask mandate. So I'm literally trying to figure this all out, contacting my team, letting them know that our current policies will still remain in place. So when I'm done with that, the season's almost over. I continue playing my course, have an awful round. I actually just lost a disc to someone's backyard. So yeah, that's how my week's been. Just a public service announcement that Governor Ducey is up for re-election next year. So get out there, vote him out. Thanks. Bye.
So thank you so much. And if anyone who's listening has found a golf disc in your backyard, please call in and let us know. All right, I've got only like 6 more left. Some of them are a little bit longer, but let's try to get into it. I love it when I get a voicemail that says this will be 30 seconds and then it's 2.5 minutes. So let's see if we can get through it.
It won't be 30 seconds. What bugs me about Rachel Lindsay's role in Bachelor Nation is when she goes on podcasts and is asked to educate the listeners. And then she starts on some rants and instances that in some instances are historically and factually incorrect regarding slavery and Black American history. She leaves out details and the significant accomplishments achieved by many of those people, especially those from 1619. She says Black slaves were considered three-fifths of a person on paper. Well, the paper was the Constitution, and the 3/5 compromise also included white indentured servants.
You're gonna have to call in again because I gave you 50 seconds, and there's a lot of numbers there. Call me back. Call me back here's what I would ask you to do, because this is where it gets dangerous. Call me back with exact things that she said and your response to them, and also let me know more about you. I do appreciate your phone call. This is getting heavy for an hour into a podcast here where I can't properly, vet what you're saying. Do you know what I mean? I appreciate your phone call, but I can't be going into the 1600s here right now.
Hey Dave, this is Josh from Boston. Just wanted to give you a call. First of all, it's been a while since I called, but I just want to congratulate you on all that you've been doing.
Thanks,
I've been having a busy work week, so I haven't been able to call in, but you did the 5-hour live stream. You passed 25K subscribers. Oh, and you're like a source for, or the sources call you. They contact you to get the exclusive story. You know what? That gives you a lot of leverage over a bunch of these other news sites and places where we get our information from. So when Rachel Kirkconnell's mom called you, I was like, wow, this is big time. You are really moving up, sir. So
just to respond to that, I got so much hate for responding to Rachel Kirkconnell's mom. It's almost like it's like if someone's got a news story and the person messages me, I feel obligated to share their story if they sound credible. It doesn't mean she doesn't have her own history of bigotry coming from Forsyth County, Georgia. It doesn't mean she didn't vote for so-and-so or put money into so-and-so. It doesn't mean any of that. All it means is she's explaining why she did what she did, and it lines up. It makes sense.
All that you're achieving, lots of positive love and energy that in that direction towards California. I was been doing a lot of reflecting on the end of the season, and I really feel disappointed because there was really a great opportunity for this show to finally do some healing and reconciling with between the racial divide that we have in this country, and what a great platform and opportunity could have been had with the first Black Bachelor, and with who he chose as, you know, a white contestant, a conservative contestant, perhaps. I don't know if she's conservative, but definitely from a conservative state, and the ability to reconcile and show that despite their differences, there is a lot to be said about people choosing to love each other. But it just feels like one ball was dropped after the other, after the other, from the producers, from Chris Harrison, from the contestants themselves, from Rachel Kirkconnell and the statements she's made, or not the statement she's made, but the way that she's acted in the past. And it just, you know, as everything kind of fell to pieces in the last couple of weeks, or it kind of culminated in like this ultimate falling out on after the final rose, it just felt so poor. And it was a missed opportunity to maximize on the good that could have been done, but it doesn't seem like any good has been done. And social media kind of won, but when social media wins, like,
nobody
it's
wins.
a very dark time.
It's very dark.
Anyways, congrats again. Just wanted to share my thoughts. And Piper, if you're out there, hit me up.
I was waiting for you there, Piper. Please hit your boy Josh up. I mean, I'm sure I can make that happen. Listen, Josh. I think you need your own YouTube channel. You leave such great voicemails and so much insight. I really appreciate you so much, and thank you for the love. Keep calling back in, man. You said everything right. It's like this season. It's like if you deconstructed a meal from a 5-star Michelin rated restaurant. You got all the different ingredients. You got the same pan. You got all the ingredients. You're going to set the oven to the right temperature. You got your timers. You have everything but the chef. And what do? You burn the Brussels sprouts. You overcooked the steak. It's like they messed up the opportunity for a real amazing dish, and they didn't serve it up right. It's true, they didn't serve it up right. They didn't know what they were doing. They didn't have the right people telling the story, and they missed a big chance there.
Hi, Dave.
Thanks,
This is Mandy from Florida, and I was calling just because I hadn't seen anything about this. It's about Taylor Nolan, who did a podcast with Reality Steve on 2/18. It was podcast number 222, about an hour, 43 minutes, 31 seconds into it. And I don't have any problem with fans only or sex workers, but she says something that I thought was really troubling, in that she says she wants to be a financial dominatrix, and she was just laughing like she really got a kick out of it, and something that then she used with another guy. I don't even want to tell you what it is, but I just felt like she was, being a bully by wanting to be a financial dominatrix, and also trying to get a financial reward from people who are, just unsuspecting. And that's it. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for the call. It's very interesting. And thank you for providing me a time code to the episode so I can watch it. Because when everyone's like, do you see that Ben Shapiro thing? I'm like, look, I'm not going to sit through a whole thing to try to find out what you're talking about. So I appreciate that so much. With regard to Taylor Nolan, I think people should be compensated for their time. But then you have to worry, like, are they... Like if she's asking for Venmo donations, it's very normal to, if you're educating someone, to receive money and this and that. But then it comes down to when you see all of the hate that she's had in her past and certain issues, you start to wonder what her motives are. As a dominatrix, of course that's just what she wants. She wants to bully people. Absolutely. So look, my channel's monetized. I totally think that if people want, there's a book by Marianne Williamson called The Law of Divine Compensation. And I've been very bad about not accepting wealth into my life because I don't feel like I deserve it. And I think people should accept whatever wealth wants to be given to them. If someone wants to donate to them, absolutely. But if you find out that that she doesn't actually believe in whatever core value she's preaching, you feel like you've been frauded. And I think that's the issue. Is people feel like they've been defrauded by her. Does that make sense? Thank you so much for sharing that. You hit the nail on the head.
Hi, it's Melissa from Georgia. I'm just calling in really just to give you some support.
Now, Melissa, I'm only playing your comment because you're supporting me.
Content and all of your videos get me through long work days or the evening after work days. Hope you're having a great day. Dawn, you have to say something too.
Hello.
Okay, great. Bye. Have a good one.
Melissa and Don from Georgia. Listen, work can be tough. I've done so many jobs in my life where all I want to do is wait for a new podcast episode comes out from my favorite podcasters and I can listen to it. I totally know what that's like. I'm so happy that you've invited me into that workplace to help kill some time with you or de-stress after a long day.
Hey,
Thank you
Dave,
so much.
this is Sarai calling from Napa.
Hey, Sarai.
Want to let you know I ordered your merch and I cannot wait to use them. So I'll post pictures later when I get them. All right. Have a
Thank
good one.
you so much. Let me know how it is. You're one of our first people that's purchased merch. If anyone wants to purchase merch, here's what I'm going to ask you to do now because it's not exactly live on my YouTube, but the site is live. Join my mailing list and I will directly mail you the merchandise. Join my mailing list. There's a description below. You can find it out from there. I'm going to get it live this week. I'm just waiting on a few more images from Tasha. She's got some merchandise. Of course, L-Dog has worked so hard on this. So shout out to L-Dog. She worked so hard on it. I don't mean to hold it hostage, L-Dog. It's almost ready to go. But I know that some people have already bought merch and I'm so excited for them to see your artwork. Absolutely.
Hey Dave, it's Avery from New York.
Hi, Avery.
And I just was kind of confused. I don't know. So I was watching the video you did about Taylor and everything, how she's doing the interview and the apology and all that, or her updated apology. I don't even know. I just want to get your opinion if you thought that she was kind of being hypocritical, because just 2 weeks ago she was screaming in a 30-minute long IGTV, and now she's calm, cool, and collected. So I don't know. That just kind of seemed a little sus to me.
Sus.
I know my language, but yeah, I don't know. Did you feel like something was kind of weird? I don't know. Yeah, I'm saying I don't know. Yeah, a lot. Yeah, just give me your opinion. I'm curious what you think, or if anybody else out there kind of felt the same way, that she was being a little too together.
Avery in New York, thank you so much for your call. I feel like I was responding like we're actually talking together. We were so much in synchrony, Avery. Very suspect. Well, I know you're young when you're abbreviating suspect. That's too you got to cut that word in half. Very sus. It's like we all have an intuition. Let's use it. If you're not buying what she's saying, it's because she doesn't buy it either. That's what it is. She's trying to sell you a product she doesn't believe in. She doesn't believe in it because did you call back? Just wanted to say something else. Oh, you called back one more time. So let's listen to your second call. And this is the last call.
I'm back. It's Avery from New York. And I just wanted to say something else that I've honestly had on my mind for a very long time. And I wanted to see if you were down for the idea. So I was thinking about Paradise and thinking about who I would match up with too. And this isn't not a matchup, but it's more of a confrontation. Obviously, Bennett and Noah from Tasha season are going to be in Paradise together. But I imagine Noah and Bennett to be buddy, or Noah is trailing Bennett, following him around everywhere. And I want to see this confrontation happen. I'm just going to say it. Victoria and Bennett. Because I want Bennett to school Victoria. Because honestly, Noah didn't need schooling. I think Victoria needs to have a little English assignment. a little philosophical assignment on how to be a proper human. No, besides that, I just think that it would kind of be funny to watch as an audience, and I have without a doubt that they're probably going to put them on the beach together. But I was just curious if you thought that was kind of an interesting or something that you would look forward to seeing on TV in August. Bye.
Avery in New York. Yes. If Victoria and Bennett had a conversation, it would for sure be suspect. I don't know if Victoria would handle Bennett, because I think Bennett, don't get me wrong, he's got his own lack of emotional awareness too. Like, he's got his own, he's on his own, path, whatever. Because clearly he couldn't understand when he was being pretentious. So we don't know what we don't know. But with regards to Victoria, a lot of times she'll end the. It's a very good reminder of Clueless, actually, because Victoria will end a conversation the same way. She'll be like, whatever. Whatever. Like, Victoria will just walk away. So I don't think she'll get to a point where she and Bennett have a long, in-depth conversation. Can't wait to check that out. We'll see that later this summer, of course. I'll be recapping it. I haven't recapped the last 3 years of Bachelor in Paradise because my audience was small and it wasn't worth my time. But now that I've got a much bigger platform here, I will be diving into it. We'll dive into the human condition that is known as Bachelor in Paradise. We'll see. I mean, it's going to be a mega season. They're going to have so many people to choose from. It really is going to be a wildfire of a season. We're done here. Thank you guys so much for the calls. To everyone who says nice supportive things, I thank you. To those that have disagreed with me, I thank you. To those that have asked me not to share my opinion, and to everybody else, thank you so much for this. Oh, I wanted to end this. If you made it this far, I'm going to show you guys this. This is my, I'm not pulled up here. This is my vlog channel. I don't have any subscribers. I haven't told anyone about it yet. I'm going to post a link in the description. So I will be starting my vlog channel this week. And then I will be posting vlogs over there, which will be more lifestyle. It'll be more lifestyle stuff. It'll be stand-up comedy. It'll be new home renovations, wedding planning, and then we'll move on from there. It's just going to be my life. So thank you guys so much for being a part of this journey of mine, from Gabby in Germany to my friends in Georgia and Arizona, to everyone in Washington, in California, in Texas, and everyone in Canada that's called in and bought merchandise. Thank you guys all so much. I appreciate you. We've got a big week ahead of us. I got to get this video done with because Tasha and I are still trying to unbox things. Our couch finally arrives. Check out my Instagram if you want to see all that. Yeah, we've been living in our new apartment all month and our couch was delayed, so we've been on lawn chairs in the living room. Anyway, folks, thank you guys so much for all the kind words. To my friends out there with health complications, you guys know who you are. We have friends out there that are battling chemo, and to my friends that are finding out hard news about their own bodies and appreciating the discussion, just know I don't have all the answers, but what I do know is when we lead with positivity and love and higher energy, we're going to be met with that in return. So thank you to everyone who's out there kind of like bridging the gap of divide and listening and having compassion for those we disagree with and love for those that we agree with. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you all out there. Thank you. Bye now.